بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون قال تعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء سيد المرسلين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه أجمعين. أما بعد. All the praises and thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sustainer of the universe, and blessing to be the most distinguished of the messengers and foremost among all of them, all of Anbiya Karam. Blessing of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on his wife, on his children, on his companions, all the righteous ulama who passed in the past who are known to the and keep us on the straight path, inshallah, help us keep on straight path. And all the Muslimin and Muslimat who passed and on the right path and who are among us who are going to come, inshallah. May Allah protect, bless all of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about in the Quran that inna adada shuhuri inda Allah isna ashara shahran fi kitab Allah yawma khalaqa as-samawati wal arda minha arba'atin hurum ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that indeed the number of months with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is 12. Talking about the lunar calendar, not about the Georgian Gregorian calendar. This came way, way long after, right? For the calculation purpose. And He created the heaven and the earth of these in the register of Allah that the day He created the heaven and earth. So these are registered when He created heaven and earth. He already established that there will be 12 months. What we know, right? So that is the correct. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, 4 among them are separate, have a special status inside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this is the correct, that is the correct religion. I mean, this is the correct religion. So do not wrong yourself during that. So today, inshallah, after reciting this ayah and giving a little bit of translation, close mafhum of that one, I'm going to tell you what the topic is. Today, alhamdulillah, we are in the month of Safar. And by reciting all this ayah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the month in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already been established when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created heaven and earth. And it's a 12 months. So there should not be any doubt. Some people say, where does 12 months come from? Okay, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, right? This comes from there. This is not by any Khulafai Rashideen or Rasulullah himself has said. This is Allah said that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, 4 among them are very prestigious months. Dhul Qadr, Dhul Hijjah, Muharram, and Rajab. So those 4 months are mentioned. It has its own status. Alhamdulillah, we talked about those months when we were in that month. Inshallah, when we got more opportunity, we'll talk more. Today, my focus would be month of Safar. And when we talk about month of Safar, Shahr al-Safar, we talk about some misconceptions too. There are a lot of misconceptions on this one. Inshallah, my goal would be to help clarify those misconceptions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all 12 months are sacred months from that perspective. All was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. how can we think that someone is in a derogatory way, or it's a less importance than the other? Yeah, there are less. Allah himself said there are some more sacred months than the other, but that's for the different purposes, right? Like Muharram has its own status, like Dhul Qa'dah has its own status. Dhul Hijjah, because of Hajj and all those, it has its own status of merit. Rajab has its own merit, but this month Safar is no less than the month of July. So there are a lot of misconceptions built up. First of all, we'll talk about this. What does Safar mean? Safar mean the emptiness of the houses. Because people literally used to go out to empty the house and go and do the jihad and whatnot for all those things. All that. So some people take it literally. They said this is a month of Safar, mean like suffering. Since when Allah established a month for the suffering of the ummah? You need to say that, right? And so if we categorize na'udhu if we go with that analogy, it's a month of sacrifice, it's a month of joyous, it's a month of merit, it's a month of giving the birth, it's a month. Since when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established that, right? Allah did not make any distinction. So this is not the month of suffering. The mushrikeen were aware of that this is the month, and where this practice build up? Let's go to the root cause of the problem. So when mushrikeen knows that every month has its own merit, when they don't want to fight, they just extend the month back then. They said, okay, so Muharram, for example, okay, we don't want to do something, so let's continue Muharram for another 2 months. Let's extend the Rajab for another one. Or they don't have a wish to do that, start the, let's say, Rabi al-Awwal, they say, okay, let's postpone it for now, or bring it early on. Inside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, ponder on that, okay, think about it. Allah says, when I created earth and heaven, established these 12 months. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you go further in that, deeper, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set the month based on the lunar. Since when moon is of shortened month and go beyond 30. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's either 29 to 30. There's no 31. There's no 31. There's no month of 20 days, right? I mean, come on, think about it, right? So if we go by that analogy, now we celebrate the birthday. Some of us celebrate the birthday. Well, when you will say, this is exactly my birthday, if you are based on this lunar, right? So you're always confused, like, okay, I don't have an expense to meet the birthday expenses, whatever the party you want to celebrating on. You say, let me extend this one because let's say, okay, kids and whatever they're asking, okay, Dad, let's have your birthday, right? So you'll say, let's not have it, just hold on. Maybe I don't have money. Let's say, maybe after 2 months we'll celebrate. I mean, technically that's different, but you will not say that I stopped my life, right? It's just like a stop breathing, right? Since when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says stop breathing, if you're living and breathing, it means you're alive. If you stop breathing, it means it's time for us to go back to his creator, right? That's a difference there. So mushrikeen were very cunning, and they think like they don't want to fight. Some of the months it was said these are sacred months. Let's not do fight. Let's do more ibadah. So if they don't want to fight, they don't have a desire, or they feel like they are weaker in the fight, they say, let's extend this month. This month is never ended. Don't come and fight, okay? Because general principle was we will not attack each other. We respect these months. Even opposite people, enemy also believe that. So they used to extend. Or if they have the desire, cunningly, they want to just attack someone, they attack. And they say, well, isn't we have an agreement we will not attack in Muharram? They say, oh, Muharram already finished. We finished yesterday, right? So this was the cunningness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling it out. And it says, this is your own personal desire or your cunningness which is getting you in the way. And this is very, very, very methodological, right? When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his last khutbah, he talked about it. No, deen has come to its original. What it means by everything, whatever the impurities being attached in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with any amalgamation you see, whatever, Allah says, Rasulullah said, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent this message in complete purity. So this is a complete religion now. And it goes back to its origin. That's what the origin means. Like whatever the wrong practices in between established, let's give away from that on and go back to the origin. Right? For example, people start having the beard early on, right? Then in between the message lost, and people think like, okay, I want to look smart and young, but not. I mean, the age progression is natural. You know, you have gray hairs, you have all these, right? So you know, just if you clean shave, you're like 20 years younger, right? So people start establishing that practice, right? At that point, what happens is they feel like this is okay. It becomes a society's norm in the society. That's okay, acceptable. Now, when Rasulullah established that, grow your beard, trim your mustache. Well, these all. So these like even in each and every aspect of life, you know, he said, no, we are going back to the origin. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us. I may have this share with you, and I'm going to share again. These are the sunnah. This is you say this. This is sunnah of Rasulullah sallam. This is the sunnah of Adam alayhi salam as well. It started from there. This is when Rasulullah when Adam alayhi salam was sent on this earth, and he was asking for the repentance, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his repentance and sent Iqbal alayhi salam, and it says, go and tell my Nabi that I've accepted your repentance. I forgive you. And then he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you some glad tidings too. And this is one of the glad tidings. You will have husn. What is the husn of the man? This is the husn of the man. We like it or not. That's debatable, right? Even though it's not debatable, but I'm just putting in that category for now. If we are one of those, we don't do that, then this is established sunnah. So Rasulullah when he came, and in between when the message lost, he says, let's go back to origin, let's grow these, let's do this, let's trim the nails and all that. I mean, so these all practices we established. So when this came back during the month of, people used to call this month the unlucky month. And this is from the Zamana Jahali, the ignorance, the time of the ignorance. And they continue to use that, and they said, well, we are doing right, but actually they were not doing right because they were shrinking and expanding the month as they desired. And then, so there's one hadith I'm going to quote here, right? So we will talk on that, inshallah. It was narrated by Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no adwa, means transmission of infectious disease without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the superstitious things people used to believe. In this month, since camel got this, since my cow got this, or people got suffering, they call it this month of suffering. It's like, it has nothing to do, it's not like suffering is an English word, right? Suffering, right? So it has nothing to do with that. So Rasulullah said, if disease or any calamity strikes you, this is by the will of Allah. And probably this is of our own hand, some cultivation of our own hand. We did that with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may not be happy with us, and Allah send some test and calamity on us. So this hadith says, no adwa, in transmission of infectious disease without the permission of Allah, it cannot come and do. No tiyara, means superstitious belief in bird omens, like they used to believe bird omens, they call it. No hama, referred to a Jahili Arab tradition described variously as a worm that infects the grave of a murder victim until he's avenged, an owl or the bones of a dead person turned into a bird that could fly. I mean, these are superstitious things they used to believe. And no safar, mean the month of safar was regarded as unlucky in the Zamana Jahiliyyah. In the Zamana Jahiliyyah. But flee from the leper as you would flee from a lion. So this is the Rasulullah says, whatever calamity strikes you, that is by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should have a strong belief in that. No calamity struck us without the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we let's say we are passing through somewhere and we got caught up in flood, we survive or not, that's another story. This is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we happen to die by that, this is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. That's the qadr Allah. That's the qadr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our last stage. So that's why we don't know what state, how we will die. So always ask for the khatim bil khair. So whatever happens, just stay on, die with the shahada, doing the witnessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our Rabb and Rasulullah is our messenger. Last messenger. So always pray for that one. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep all of us on that one. Ameen. So Shaykh Ibn Utaym, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him, said, several explanations were given for the word suffer in this hadith, the one hadith I narrated from Bukhari. That is the well-known month of Safar, which the Arab regards as unlucky. that it was an internal disease affecting camels, as I mentioned, alluded to, that may be transmitted from one camel to the other. And it was mentioned after adwa contagion or transmission of infectious diseases by way of mentioning a specific type of contagion after mentioning something general. So the question is, who gave the first infection to the first animal, first cat? It's by the will of Allah. How could you say that this is attributed because of that? So this is superstitious beliefs people have, or people used to have in Zamana Jari. Anyway, even up until now, people some believe still that, right? And that is that if it referred to the month of Safar, that what was meant was postponing of a sacred month. As I mentioned, they don't want to fight, they don't want to, and they can say, okay, just expand this way. What is the talimat of Rasulullah? When we say Rasulullah is one of the good examples, best example among the human beings, what he taught. Most important, what the message of the Quran, another message of the Quran is obviously after submission, subduing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah gives too much importance in the family bond. Allah gives importance to have a family, the way we, and respect the relations. Why these all things when we talk about it, like lesbianism is not allowed, and gayism and all these things are not allowed. These practices, I mean, these are Quran. There are communities who destroyed because of these acts. Don't you think this evil practice or evil things happen in our own community or all communities? It does. Why we don't get those kind of adab? This is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has given us this one. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of us to adjust the course, inshallah, and overcome those challenges and overcome those harafat, whatever comes in mind, intentionally, unintentionally. Ameen, inshallah. So Allah give importance to the families. Most. And Allah wants to see the family in very clear way. What it means by the relation, keep it so simple and straight so it won't mingle and mix together. For example, it says who you can marry, who you cannot marry. You cannot marry your mahram. You cannot, a girl cannot marry your father or father's father or brothers. So which we call it incest. Islam wants to keep the relation. God forbid, if someone ends up in that, if a boy and girl have a relation, brother and wife, brother and sister, what would you call the baby? Is it uncle? Is it father? Is what exactly? So this is giving some analogy there that Allah wants to keep these relations pure. This is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has taught us. Initially, when it started from the progeny of Adam and Eve, that was a different story. That was like morning and evening, they used to cross path and they used to marry that. But when it comes to the certain threshold, after that, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to marry to your uncle and aunt and all, real uncle and that nephew and niece and all. It's so plain simple. If you see, it's up and down. You don't marry this one. Rest you can marry everyone. Cousins you can do in Islam. Everything is allowed. Cousins you can marry them, right? Then another thing. Rasulullah has taught us all these things as well. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given wisdom and He has shared with us. Some people call this month not to marry because this is a month of suffering. Don't marry. I mean, you may have heard from, this superstitious thing. In all culture, in all society, everywhere I've heard these things, right? So you hear that one. There is no such thing which will forbid you not to marry. Prime example of that, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu and Khadija. They both married in the same month. Why Rasulullah did that? To teach us. Because, now we know that. Now we know that he was married in the same. We are waiting for Imam Mahdi to come, right? He was from the progeny of same Rasulullah, Ahl Bayt, from Ahl Bayt. And so on. Come on, if you have respect for all these things, how can you mix match these things? This relation, the purity start from there, and they were married in the same month. Rasulullah taught that it's okay to marry the widows. And it comes to the point. If Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give the lesson, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught Rasulullah to marry the virgin as well, like the unmarried woman as well. So this gives an example. You can marry to the widow, you can marry to the young as well. What is wrong with that if you marry to if you go and have the marriage with the unmarried girl or woman? Right? What's wrong with that if you want to marry to the widow or whatnot? So this is the tartib of deen, spreading of deen. So these are that's why when you see, take the example of Rasulullah, majority of these things, he himself practically clarified. So there's no month or in a derogatory way is a bad month. All months of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's perfectly all right to have the marriages, it's perfectly all right to do whatever you want to do, what is halal and permissible in the sight of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no such conception. So I mean, obviously time is short. I want to just clarify a few points, and this is just igniting the fire, right? Or thought provoking. You go back and search on it. If anyone says superstitious thing about this month, there's no concept in Islam about that. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you and all of us, inshallah, wherever this message goes, to look, ponder on more and correct the course if we are one of those we intentionally or intentionally fall there. قولوا هذا استغفر لي ولكم فاستغفر انه هو الغفور الحمد لله استعين واستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله ارسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يديه الساعه من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فانه لا يضر الا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم اغفر لي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات يوم يقوم الحساب. قال إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين وذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر اعداء الدين واحمي حوزه الاسلام يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وسنه نبيك وعبادك المحمدين. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت اقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. امين. عباد الله في سحبي لا تتخذوا غرضا من بعدكم من احبهم بحب احبهم ومن ابغضهم ببغض ابغضهم وخير امتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم ان الله يامر بالعدل والاحسان وايتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني اذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. إذا كان